you're gonna have to bear with us because I can't lean over here and then lean over there. So we're gonna have to figure some things out. Hey, for everybody who has been wondering where we've been. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see each and every one of you.
Hello, everybody.
Scoot on in.
Okay, there we go.
We've been away for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know. This angle is a little weird. Let us know, y'all. We may need to push things back if we too close.
Yeah, I don't think we were too close.
Okay, because I'm concerned about this angle. But okay, hey you guys, hey.
Hello, everybody.
Give us a second. We're going live on other places. So hello,
everybody.
Hey, everybody, come on in. It's been quite some time since we have been live. I know you guys have been asking to see both of us together at the same time.
Right.
So here we sit, girl.
Hello, here we are.
For those of you guys who may be stumbling across this video and you have no idea who we are or where you found yourself, I am Candy Sincerity Johnson.
And I am Sean Johnson.
Together we do Sincerity Johnson, which is our fashion brand. We also are the co-parents of some amazing children. And you probably have seen us around at some point in time, so you should be familiar with who we are. If not, then buckle up, Buttercup, because you may be in for a little bit of a ride.
Just a little bit.
Yes. So, Sean, you've been away, girl.
I've been away.
While the girls filed into the room and grabbed their snack. And pull the door up to their office.
Okay.
Because they're still at work.
Right.
Girl, why they cancel the next meeting, girl? Do you want to tell the people why you've been away?
Well, I've been just busy on the Sincerity Johnson side. So for those who are best friends over there, you guys have seen me pretty frequently. So that's usually where you can find me. And then on this side, we have just been working through some things that we're going to share with you guys on today as to why that you have not really seen me on this side.
I like it. Your seat is up real high.
You need me to come down?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that means I'm going to have to put my legs down.
Your seat is giving.
Your seat is real low.
You know, your seat is giving, very much so bar stool. And my seat is very much so giving table side.
That's all right. I just stretch my legs out, girl. That's not a problem.
Well, maybe that'll work. So, are you able to pull the comments up so we can engage with the audience? Now, listen, we titled this video The Real Reason We've Been Away. Because, we've been telling y'all some things. People would ask. They would come over on the business page when we were live on Sincerity Johnson. They would ask, and we would be like, girl, we got this to do and that to do. And that was the truth for that moment.
Right.
Okay? The kids did have a lot of activities that day. But the better question is, girl, why did it take you so long to come back? And so for the past several months, somebody said months. For the past several months, Sean and I have been doing something behind the scenes that y'all didn't really know about.
A little bit secret.
So,
if you will.
It was around January?
Probably about January-ish, yeah.
It was around January-ish. And for those of you guys who've been with us for a while, January was right after the holiday. That was when y'all found me passed out on the floor.
Yeah.
And I got rushed to the hospital. And then the day I came home from the hospital was also the day that Sean's granny passed away. That was January-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot happened in a short period of time.
A lot happened in a very short period of time. So when we refer to January-ish, for the best friends that's been around, you can kind of put the timeline in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. So around January or so, Sean and I sat down and we had a conversation. And she said, look, Myrtle. She said, we've been at this for a little while, over the past 20 or so years. And I just want to know, are we in or are we out? Right? In a roundabout way, that was the nature of the conversation. She wanted to know, are we in or are we out? So I said, well, listen, we've gone back and forth, let's just try one more time just to see, if we can make a relationship work.
If we can make heads or tails out of it.
If we can make heads or tails out of the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So around January or so, Sean and I got back together, but we didn't tell nobody.
Right.
Okay.
Because we knew there was still a lot that had to be revisited and worked through and etc.
That's right. So during this time, Sean is still in therapy. I'm still in therapy. And she's working on her to-do list. And I'm working on my to-do list. And as we're going through therapy and as life is continuing to life, we're realizing what?
We realized that there was still a lot that just could not get worked through. We realized that, you know what?
Yeah.
We gave it the old college try, girl. We put our Girl Scout hat on and we tried to do it, like they say, do the work. And we tried and we realized that, okay, it has officially run its course.
Right. So one night we had a conversation. And so here's what the tough part is. I know y'all used to hanging by the seat of your pants. I know y'all used to old salacious story. Girl, somebody cheated. Girl, somebody bust somebody lip open, girl. Somebody got pushed down the stairs. It was a drunken fight, girl. I know y'all waiting on some sketchy details that's just going to make you feel like, girl, your life is just amazing compared to our shit.
The climax of the story.
But here's the thing. When you get to your 40s, you realize like that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? The difference between who we are now versus who we were in all the previous stories is we ain't got to go around the mulberry bush to get to the answer to the question.
Right.
So to answer the question that hasn't been asked yet, what happened? Nothing new happened.
Right.
Nothing new happened.
No.
We just realized that we have both, not one, we have both outgrown each other in a romantic capacity. There are things in a relationship that I need and expect that's very different than who Sean is. And there are things that Sean need and expect that's very different than who I am. So we don't align. And we recognize that, girl, 20 something years ago when we fell in love, we were very different people than who we are now.
Exactly.
And so,
and the thing about that is, and I'm going to interject just real quickly. And the thing about that is that's okay. Right? Like so many times people want to be able to point the finger and try to blame somebody and say, you did, I did, whatever did. No, it's okay. Like think back to when you were in elementary school or high school and you had this best friend, and girl, when they saw you, they saw her or him, and when they saw her or him, they saw you, and y'all was thicker than thieves and you couldn't live without each other. Where that person at right now?
You don't know. Because girl, I don't know.
You don't know where they are. You don't know what their phone number is anymore. You don't know nothing. And guess what? It's not because anything happened, and it's not because they were wrong or you were wrong. You guys just went in different directions.
Your time is up, girl.
And that's okay.
Your time is up. Yeah.
Like we have put 20 years into this thing, and we still have more time, but it looks different. Right? Now we have grown past the romantic phase. We've served the purpose in one another's lives that we were supposed to serve. And now we have different roles. Now we have these two children that we have to continue to raise and make sure that they are functional adults.
Yeah.
And then once that duty is done, then it's done.
Yeah.
Right?
So here's the thing. For those of you guys who have read our books, say I read it. I just need to gauge who we talking to.
Right.
If you've read our book, specifically book 2, I need you to say in the comments, say I read it. Okay, so I know who I'm talking to. I want to know, are you a friend or you a best friend?
Right.
Because there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Are you a friend or are you a best friend? If you read the second book, say read it. Okay. All right. I know. All right. Rhonda.
Cicely.
Yeah. Okay. Wanda. Okay. So listen. Everybody else, Hirsch. Okay. I'm talking to my best friend.
Right.
Sean is talking to her best friend. Everybody else, Hirsch.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
If Sean say what month,
August.
you know what happened. Okay.
No, right.
You know, like you was there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now listen. Since that point, several things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We started working to climb out of the hole that we were in. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially.
Yes.
Okay? We started working. So if you could imagine almost like a cartoon where you start working and you start digging your way out of a mess, out of something, we started working to dig out.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the truth. And this is my right hand of God. I know it might be opposite the way the camera looked, but this is literally my right hand of God. Here's the truth. Then comes the election.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes tariffs. Then comes all these shifts in our business where certain things that are very hot commodities are very difficult to get.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes a slowing of the economy.
Yep.
So all of this work that we were doing for 2 years to dig out, all of a sudden it felt like overnight we get drugged back down.
Right back
down to where we were, or maybe a little bit worse. I ain't even gonna hold you up. But had all that not happened, we wouldn't be still recovering.
Right.
You follow me? So then uncovers all these old wounds that you thought healed, but really didn't heal. You just were living with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were putting Wednesday in front of Tuesday, you know, and continuing with your week and your day.
Right.
So one day, Sean and I are sitting in the studio, which is where we are now. We had just went live and had a phenomenal day with Sincerity Johnson. So we're sitting here after we push the button, and we going back and forth and we talking. And so I asked Sean a question. I said, how do you know when it's time to let a relationship go? You remember that day?
I do, very vividly.
What did I do next?
Girl, you went into the old nasty ChatGPT, girl. Girl, let me know. Girl, I know because a lot of people use it and they just trying to say they don't, but they do.
Because see, this is the thing. Everybody would be in their feelings, right? You know it's time to let go when, you know, and then you start pulling up all these little reels and excerpts and stuff on Instagram and sending each other stuff back and forth,
right.
Little subliminal messages. So I said, let's remove the emotion.
And
it's too personal.
Right. And what I like about the whole ChatGPT is they're going to pull it from reliable sources.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the reliable sources where there is no emotion, like Candy said.
Right. So I said, let's just stick to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let's take the emotion out of it. It's too personal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So Chat gave Sean and I 6 signs to know the girl, this thing is done.
Right. And stop it.
You can stick a fork in it. She's done.
And please stop scraping the plate.
Okay? So we're sitting here and we're reading these signs. I'm going to read them to you. The first one was, you're consistently emotionally exhausted. You want to give details?
And it says under that, it says, not tired like we just had a deep conversation. Because, you know, sometimes when you're having a deep conversation, sometimes you do be just a little mentally drained because it's just a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So not tired like we just had a deep convo, but tired like I'm drained every day just trying to keep this thing together. Love shouldn't feel like survival mode 24/7.
We both said, well.
Baby, listen, when you feel like you have just run the New York Marathon, at the end of the day, every day, to the point where all you can do is shower and just go to bed because you just need to just rest.
Yeah.
Something ain't right.
Yeah. I think the day before, one of us had told the other, I'm sick of you. Period, quote.
I won't say who. at any rate. Okay? When you get to the point where you look at that person and you be like, I am just sick of you, girl. Hey, baby, listen. You might want to just say, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah. Number 2 in this list of 6.
Mm-hmm.
You feel more alone with them than without them.
Jesus today. Let me give you a little extra. It says if you're in a relationship, but you still feel unseen, unheard, or unsupported, it's giving roommate or emotional ghosting. And baby, you deserve presence.
Yeah.
Baby, listen. I can't tell you how many times this woman has said something to me, and I thought I heard something.
Mm-hmm. But what happened?
And she'd be like, Sean, that ain't nowhere near what I said.
Not what I said.
That's not what I said.
Somebody might have said it, but I didn't.
I can't tell you how many times this woman has said, if you could just pay attention and listen, you might not have to put so many miles on your feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Baby, when you can't show up for somebody the way they need you to show up, please move out the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Number 3, you doing all the emotional labor. What's that mean?
Under this one, it says you're the therapist, the cheerleader, the fixer, and the planner. Meanwhile, they out here treating the relationship like a hobby they pick up on weekends.
Okay, enough said. We're gonna go to number 4. The growth is one-sided.
Mm-hmm. With this one, you're out here healing, going to therapy, praying, journaling, working on your triggers, and they still think communication is you reading their mind. Growth has to be mutual.
Okay.
Okay.
At this point, while we were down here going through this, we realized we 4 for 4.
So far, you
We
know.
realized we 4 for 4.
And this ain't a game that I necessarily wanted to win at, but the truth is the truth, right? What you always tell me, it ain't the truth that hurts. It's your relationship with the truth that really causes a problem.
Well, I got that from Darius.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Darius said that.
And so I said, dang, I ain't want to win this one, but it looked like I'm about to win.
Yeah, yeah. Number 5, you keep having the same fight, but everybody's wearing a different outfit.
If y'all are running the same cycle, you good for a week, then it's chaos. Then the apology tour, then you repeat. That's not a rough patch. That's the relationship.
Yep.
How many times, for the best friends that's been around for a little bit of time, how many times have you guys seen this?
How many breakup conversations we done had with y'all?
So it's not a rough patch, my love. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Number 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
7.
Oh, it's 7.
It's 7, not 6.
Number 6. We probably just stopped talking.
We
after
probably,
6.
yeah, because we were just wore out.
We was done. I was ready to shout for a bit.
So there you go.
Number 6. Your peace costs too much in this relationship.
If your peace, your self-esteem, or your safety are on the line, just keep them happy. Just to keep them happy, baby, girl, that's too high a price. Peace is not negotiable. Now, one thing I will say, safety ain't never really been an issue. Okay? But that safety ain't never really been an issue, but the self-esteem and the peace.
Mm-hmm. Number 7, you're staying out of history, not happiness. That's hard for us. We will stay for the kids. We will stay because it's easier, it's cheaper to keep her. We will stay because, all of the things.
It seemed beautiful, mutually beneficial, all of those things.
Yeah.
But it says the years you've put in can't outweigh the quality of those years. You're not obligated to keep paying rent on a love that's been empty for a long time. If you lump up the sum of time that you've been in a situation with somebody, and there's more piles and stacks on the bad side than it is the positive side, you probably were staying because of history and not happiness.
Is this a safe space?
Of course it is.
Some months ago, we made a decision to do a series.
Mm-hmm.
And we took people from the beginning of the relationship up until the end.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting on that couch. There was like a light bulb moment one day where I realized for us, and it's not me pointing the finger, it's me saying both of us, the bad outweighed the good.
Mm-hmm.
Because from us buying our first house, starting the business, getting engaged, getting married, having the kids, it was always some underlying bullshit going on. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in that moment, I really felt like we've been robbed of even the happiest times that people look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll never get, you never get that stuff back.
Right.
I never get a pregnancy back. You never get a proposal and a marriage and stuff back. You never get that back. You never get that do-over.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in that moment that I was just like, we need to think about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
8.
Oh, and look, there was 8.
Oh, girl, we stopped. I swear to God, we stopped.
We stopped at 6. We thought it was only 6.
Girl, I couldn't scroll anymore.
We were tired.
You understand
That
what
was
I'm
back to
saying?
number 1, where you're mentally exhausted.
You're exhausted. I'm done. Number 8, you change who you are just to keep the relationship.
Shrinking, silencing yourself, or shape-shifting just to be accepted isn't love. It's fear of abandonment dressed up like compromise.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many times both of us have done this in this situation with the hopes of trying to protect the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's not it.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we trigger each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell you,
In different ways.
in very different ways. Because let me tell you, if we have a disagreement and there were some things that needed to be taken care of, right? Let's just make it easy. Let's just say a bill was supposed to be paid. I get a notice you didn't take care of it. We had this conversation, right? Naturally, my reaction, especially if it's something we've talked about, is to get frustrated, to get irritated, to yell. Well, that's triggering for Sean. That's going to make Sean go into a whole thing where she's now not listening. This whole thing. So it's like we trigger each other.
Mm-hmm.
And in this constant cycle of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but who's yelling? The person who's yelling is the person who don't feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
The person who feel like they repeating themselves. The person who, so it's this, it's constant.
And it shows up in different ways because you yell because you don't feel seen or heard, etc. And I just get quiet because why should I keep talking?
And to me, when you get quiet, you're listening, but you ain't listening.
So it's
just checked out.
So it's just a lot. It's a lot of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the 6 signs. 8. Or, well, I thought it was 6.
Those were the 8 signs.
We've now discovered that we qualify for all 8.
Right.
Tell them what we win.
We're done.
Yeah. Ooh. So because of the financial piece, right? The financial conundrum that we're still in. This isn't another one.
Right.
This is a continuation of everything that was going on a couple years ago, right?
For those who read the book August, you guys know that
how big the hole was.
Right. And then I caused that. Okay.
So Sean and I said, listen, the kids are getting older, but also times is rough for everybody. We're going to have to still work together to dig out of this, but in working together, we need to create a contingency plan.
Right.
We sat down, we worked through an 18 to 24 month plan. Sean started her plan, her process with her therapist. I started mine with my therapist. We have a together plan. We've been building everything out. We do daily checkpoints.
Mhm.
And so in the process, I said, all right, like, let's go ahead and share with the best friends. I said, because it's one of those things where we bring them into almost every aspect of our lives.
Mhm.
So it's only fair to just be transparent and have the conversation.
Mhm.
So that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Are you ready to open it up for questions, or do you have anything else to add?
Sure. No, we can open it up for questions.
Now, best friends, we're going to open it up for questions. As we open it up for questions, I'm going to say this is a safe space. You can ask anything you want to ask. It's up to us to determine if it's something we want to answer.
Mhm.
Because our boundaries look a little bit different this time around.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I know many people will probably want to know is, have we expressed this to the kids?
Mhm.
Did you want to go into that?
Sure. So we have not shared this with the kids just yet because of the fact that it's such a long timeline, or what seems like long, because really 18 to 24 months is not that long.
Mhm.
But in kids' eyes, that's forever, right?
Mhm.
So because of the timeline being 18 to 24 months, that we said, okay, this is our exit strategy. This is our time to go ahead and recover and break everything apart, et cetera, et cetera. We're like, let's not share that with them, because it's almost like then they're walking around with this doomsday. Like, oh, okay, 17 more months, 16 more months. And you don't want, they're kids. Let them be kids. We just want them to be in a situation where they know that they have their parents, that we love them, we support them, they continue to do what they're going to do. And then, once it gets closer, and once we're finally like, okay, now we're in that last whatever time frame we decide, okay, now we can share it with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have not shared it with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Auntie Carol asked a good question. She said, where do we go from here? For all intents and purposes, not much changes for our best friends.
Right.
Sincerity Johnson is still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a conversation inside of our private group about some personal matters with our best friends there. So Sincerity Johnson, nothing changes as it relates to the brand or our business together.
Right.
Sean and I, we've been operating like this before. It's not new for us. It's just an adjustment, right? She had moved back into the room. Now she moved out of the room. So it's just logistically, we back in two different rooms. It ain't no big thing as it relates to that. Not much changes for our best friends and for our children. Right. Not much changes there. And if we're honest, many of you probably suspected that we had gotten back together, or that we were trying to work on things or explore a relationship again, but nobody had concrete information because we wouldn't confirm or deny anything.
Right.
So not much changes in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
After the 18 to 24 months, the plan is for Sean and I to operate the business in like a commercial space. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a commercial space. That way we're not doing showcases out of this house, or her house, or wherever we are at that point. We will have a centralized location. That location will house all inventory. We will do all lives from that centralized location, and Mom and the team will pack orders from that centralized location, and we will ship from there. But that's again a part of the 18 to 24 month contingency plan.
Right.
But again, nothing changes as it relates to the business.
Mm-hmm. So that way we can get to a point where there is that legit separation, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. I'll see you at the office.
Yeah.
And then we keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean and I, on a personal level, we're working on a friendship, because there have been a lot of tug of war over the years. And so although she's still one of my very best friends, there's a lot of rebuilding that has to be done there, mm-hmm. because the nature of the relationship is changing. Mm-hmm. This was not my best friend. This was my wife, right? So, this was the person who I had children with. This was a person who we had a very strong romantic connection for 20 years. So now that this has a different face and it looks different, there's not just a magic switch that you just switch on or off. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of healing that has to take place, and we may heal at different speeds and at, different levels and stuff like that. So there's a lot of work that would happen from that perspective. Mm-hmm. It will probably, if I'm transparent, it will probably be easier for us to create content now that you guys know, because there was a lot that I couldn't talk about. We couldn't talk about. You know, neither of us are dating, but there were a lot of things that we just couldn't talk about when we would argue or not be in a good headspace. Because I wasn't finna push this button and tell y'all that.
Right.
Sean wasn't gonna push this button and tell y'all that. You know, our children having extremely busy lives outside of school kind of makes things easy, because a lot of times when she would go live for Sincerity Johnson, I legit would be with the kids, you know, at Kennedy's game, at her practice, at, you know, his lessons or whatever the case may be. So when I wasn't here and she said, hey, Candy is with the kids, I legitimately was, but it just made it easy for us to just move in opposite directions. But now that you guys know, there's not a lot that would change from your perspective.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Deanna said, are either of you still looking to relocate out of town?
You know, it may make sense. It's not off the table. Deanna, I will say it's not off the table. Us possibly moving out of state may make sense. I don't know. There are a lot of things that we are considering. One of the things that we're considering, just because everything is tight, right? One or both of us going back to work during the day and then running the business in the evening at night like we have been doing. The business is non-negotiable. We're going to have SJ. We're going to have Sincerity Johnson. But it's one of those things where we're evaluating, do it make sense for one or both of us to go back to work? That way we have more revenue coming into the house. It's a steady stream of revenue, and it's not a situation where even when things slow down and we have those down months versus the high months, it don't have a financial impact on us at all. You know, there's that steadiness that we need. So I don't know, like there's nothing that's off the table at this point.
Yeah, and that's just part of us working through everything, because there may come to a point that once we've worked through our plan where Candy's ready and she's able to go and I'm not, and so then we got to figure that out, or vice versa. You know, so there's going to be a lot that we're going to have to discuss and work out. And ultimately, the bottom line is what's beneficial for Kenny and Caleb.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and this is the part, and let's be transparent. There's several entrepreneurs that are really looking in the mirror and having a conversation with themselves. Social media will allow people to paint this picture or this facade that everything is up and people just laying on the beach and driving fancy cars and all of that. A lot of these people that you watch have a lot of overhead, okay? They have a lot of overhead and they stress out when it comes to money right now, because don't nobody know what's coming next, and all we can do is plan, hope, and guess and all of the things. But literally overnight, what became easy to get when it came to inventory was very difficult to get. You see what I'm saying? Things changed and shifted in a matter of days. We ain't even talking about weeks.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, you know, we could put on a facade or we could push the button and tell y'all one side of the story, but it benefits who? We've built our business and our platform on transparency, which is why even with us not going live half of the time, we got so many people watching live, is because you guys know when we come over here and we have a conversation, it's the real one.
Yeah.
It's the real one. It's the one that ain't nobody talking about. So I will be the person, if I got the right call tomorrow with the right salary, I'm going back to work. And y'all will be on the live with me while I'm ironing my dress slaps to go back into the office. Because at the end of the day, before I'm an entrepreneur, before I'm an influencer, I'm Kennedy and Caleb's mother, and I'm unapologetic about providing for them, no matter what. So whatever that look like is whatever it look like. But you will see me, if I go back to work, you will see me going back to work, building a business, raising kids, getting them to their activities. A lot of people do it. It just is what it is. Now, I'm a little resentful, and that I'm going to be working through in therapy, because I had a plan for our family where when times got tough, because we knew they were coming, okay? When times got tough, there was another stream of revenue that we were going to have that was supposed to sustain us. You know what I mean? And we will be in a thriving position, but things change. So we can't live or hang our hopes on the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We have to deal with the reality of the situation. which is why our conversation is oftentimes, let's remove the emotion and stick to the facts. When we stick to the facts and you're able to outline what's best for your children and what's best for your family, you arrive at a decision very easily. You know, Deanna said, would you go back into insurance? I don't want to, but that's where a lot of my experience is. I don't want to, because more so than not, because of my experience, a lot of companies want me to open an insurance agency, and I'm not interested in opening another business. I'm very happy with the business I have. Would I go back into insurance sales as like an account exec, something like that, where I have a base salary plus bonus and stuff like that? Absolutely. You know, but not as an agent, because I don't want to open another business.
And for me, I'm not opposed to anything. However, I want to make sure that we're doing things that make sense for the kids in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a situation where, you know, it would take me away and then put a further strain on Candy, then that's not fair, because I've already strained her to the absolute capacity. So, you know, it has to make sense. Whatever it is that we do, it has to make sense.
Yeah. So, you know, so that's just, I'm not even gonna lie, I feel like a weight was lifted.
Really?
Us having this conversation, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I feel like a weight was lifted, because if I'm honest, best friends, let me tell you guys how private I am, and how I guess the word is just private. I don't really talk to anybody about our personal lives. So people that are close to me, or seemingly close to me, and I say seemingly, like, you know, whatever, family, friends, people who could literally call or text me right now, a lot of times they will find out the same information about me or us when y'all do. And Sean, no, I'm not lying.
No, that's true. It's facts.
Girl, they be on the live like you be on the live. You understand what I'm saying? They be calling each other, did you see Candy video? Like, just like y'all be, like, it very much so, because when something is going on with me, nobody know until they know. Which is why everybody was rooting for us and has been rooting for us for the past 20 years, because you don't know no different.
Right.
Y'all don't know. You don't know the times I failed Sean. You don't know the times Sean failed me. And it's not for anybody to know. But when you see something for so long and you don't know what's under the cover or behind the curtain, all you can do is root for it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, it don't look like nobody else had any questions. Anybody else have any questions?
I think maybe they've taken it all in.
Yes. Yes.
Melissa said she's the same. She doesn't talk about her relationship with anyone other than her spouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't see any other questions.
All right, best friends. Well, listen. Kennedy has a softball game this afternoon with her team, her school team. Caleb has piano, so we are going to divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
We had some new items that came in that Sean is also inventorying for Sincerity Johnson. We're going to have a personal conversation inside of our group.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to do that now? Or
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. We're going to have a conversation with the best friends inside of our group. If you're not in the group, baby, you probably can't get in at this point. And you'll find out why if you're in.
Mm-hmm.
But we love you guys. We hope you have an amazing day. Know that the absolute best is yet to come. But baby, what we got?
We got work to do, y'all.
We got work to do. Y'all take care. Keep your notifications on.